What's up, everybody? Welcome to Uncouth Conversations. This is where we get on and we have a quick conversation with somebody. So it's not a full Uncouth radio show, but this is Uncouth Conversations. With today we have Dr. Shar James. Everybody, give it up for Dr. Shar James. Shar, thank you so much for joining me today. I know this was kind of last minute, so I really appreciate you taking the time to come sit with us and get with us. First, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us, tell the people what you do so they can know who's talking.
Who they're talking. Of course. All right. So my short name is Shar. My actual name is Sharifa. I'm actually a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've been working in residential based services with male juvenile offenders for about 15 years. I just recently transitioned to working with the homeless population, now using a harm reduction model, which is part of our philosophy and the work that we do. Um, so that's who I am in a quick, brief synopsis.
All right, appreciate it. So, real quick, we're gonna just hop right into it. Yesterday, of course, the big headline was Joe Biden is spending $30 million on crack pipes. Everybody ran with it. I think it started with the Daily Mail, which is actually a left wing news place, and Shade Room picked it up from the Daily Mail and Fox News, and after that, it ran rampant. And now we already know the Democrats are terrible at messaging, so to already be terrible at messaging and to have something like this drop looks hella kind of crazy right now. So, but
Yeah.
before we get into that, I want you to explain to the people the point of harm reduction. Before we talk about this specific bill and what it is, I just want to tell the people, explain the point of harm reduction and why they have the drug kits and why they have, why they give out syringes, why they give out pipes, and why they do these things, and let the people know that's not really new. But go ahead and explain harm reduction, please.
Exactly. It's definitely not new. And I guess we'll kind of jump into it with, people really saying, okay, well, why start with crack pipes? There's been an opioid addiction, opioid problem for quite some time. Why haven't they done anything like that? Well, that would be incorrect because they have been doing harm reduction programs forever. Pretty much, harm reduction is really understanding and meeting the client where they're at in their substance abuse, um, and with their substance abuse concerns. Right, understanding that substance abuse is multifaceted, so it's really trying to remove the what's the word that I want to use. Um, let's say even remove the barriers that prevent someone from reducing their substance abuse, right? So if an issue is housing, right? So helping them find housing, that is most people who have substance abuse may tend to use because of utilizing a negative coping, right? So really helping to remove the barriers to I'm sorry, I'm losing a train of thought. The
That's okay.
barriers to reduce their using. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I want to talk about that because
So it's part
I was
yeah,
gonna say I want to talk about that because I
go
know
ahead. Mhm.
from what I know about harm reduction and what I read, basically it's kind of a way to, like you said, meet them where they are, but also, for example, if they have a designated place that they can go to get the clean paraphernalia that they need, they also have access to counseling and access to try to get into a rehab program at these places as well. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
Exactly correct, right? So if we're offering services that, like we said, provides them housing, if we're also in that, we're providing services like medical attention. So yes, definitely you're correct. It offers and it provides a way for them to get the help that they need.
So,
Mhm.
in regards to the actual term harm reduction, I just want to talk about some of the harms that we hope to reduce with these kind of programs. I know there's a couple of places. I think San Francisco has been doing it for a few years. There's a few places in New York, and they say that it has really saved a lot of lives. It really got some people into rehab, but also some people who OD'd in these places were able to get the proper help they need to actually live. So some of the things I heard that harm reduction does, it reduces crime in certain areas. It reduces the passing of um, STDs, STIs, and other infectious diseases. And again, it gives a lot of addicts, a lot of addicted people, the resources to be able to try to get clean that they probably would not otherwise have. Am I understanding that correctly? Are those some of the things that are harm reduction?
Exactly. That's I mean, you summed it up to a T. Exactly. Sorry, I'm just reading some of these comments. Let's see. This is why. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, I want to talk about that because for some reason people think that this is only a black thing, and that's interesting to me because it's not a black thing. And again, because they attach crack pipe to the headline, a lot of people don't understand that these are talking about crystal meth pipes, talking about all the paraphernalia for all the different drugs. And honestly, I'm not a person who thinks the immediate when you say drugs, you're talking about black folks. That's
Thank
just
you.
me
I
though.
was
If
gonna
we're
say
talking about people who can't progress, I'm not somebody who thinks when you're talking about drugs, you're automatically talking about black folks because we are not the number one users of crystal meth.
thank you.
So just for your
You
information,
just for
Nate Dromo, whoever you are,
yeah,
yeah,
you actually took what I was gonna say. I said you have to ask yourself that why when they say crack pipes, you think of, African American black people. Now, yes, in history there was, let's say, I believe it was during the Reagan era where there was the welfare queen, and they put this stuff out in the media where it was not necessarily true. So you're going to have to kind of check yourself in regards to why when they say crack pipes you automatically think they're talking to us.
right. So, and again, like I said, I'm just trying to give out the information so people understand exactly what's going on, so people understand what harm reduction is, and people understand that this isn't new. This isn't the first time that this has been in the bill. This is the first time that this is administration has done this. So I just want people to kind of understand that before they run with the headline. Because I know you said you work with the homeless population now. Can you just tell me what you think some of the benefits are from actually having a budget for harm reduction for the thing? Because I know it helps people like you who work in this arena. So could you explain to the people how does having budgets for things like this help you and what you're doing in your outreach?
Yeah. So, and even reading into the headline, because I did not just look at the shade room and say, okay, this is what they're doing. Um, I did take some time out to try to figure out and read other articles in regards to what they're doing. And the money actually goes to fund programs to help initiatives for harm reduction, right? So there's such thing as what's called Narcan bags, which helps reduce the opioid addiction. In the past, they've done things during like the AIDS epidemic where they were giving out clean syringes because they were transmitting HIV/AIDS through dirty syringes. So, like you said, that it definitely helps to reduce the other barriers such as the medical needs that individuals have. So the money is going towards funding programs, not crack pipes. I don't know if I could stress that enough. So that's definitely how that funding would help to fund more programs like the one that I work for
Yeah. So can you
throughout
tell
the
the people
country.
about the
And
program? I would say, can you tell them about the program you work for? Just because I want people to kind of get the ins and outs so they can understand that it's not just funding crack pipes. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, not to name them because I don't want
Right.
anyone to think that
Right.
I'm speaking on behalf of them. But what the program does is really take a holistic approach in understanding that, individuals that are suffering from homelessness, like we said, it's multifaceted to remove the barriers. So whether it be substance abuse, whether it be domestic violence, finding them adequate health care, finding them homes to live in. So funding like that actually benefits our community. And the reason why they attach racial inequity is because historically that money necessarily hasn't gone to our types of communities, if we want to say people of color. um, so that's why the word racial, equity was added to that. Not to say black people are using crack. It's saying, hey, let's take this funding and put it in communities that have necessarily or generally have been ignored historically for these types of services.
Okay, thank you so much for breaking that down. I want to explain to the people,
Mhm.
especially to the young lady, but I have never been somebody who just carries water for Biden. If you watch any of my shows, you know that I will critique and go at them for everything they do, and there is a myriad of things to actually go at them for. But this is not one of them. So, and again, I just want my people to be informed. That's all I really care about. The things that I have a problem with, we've talked about on all our other uncool shows, things that we know haven't been happening in regards to the votes and Kristen, Cinnamon and Manchin. We've talked about all those things, but I just wanted to take this time with Dr. Shar James to just really get into talking about this headline, because this headline is wildly inaccurate. And for me, I just want to let the people know what it is. But I do want to address this from Demetrius Seabrooks. What's up, my man? He says some may say it's counterproductive, and I understand how people can feel that way. I understand how people can see it like that, Seabrooks. But the thing is, people are going to use, right? They're going to be users. And what you want to try to do is you want to try to get the users in a place to where they can get the resources they can, so they're not committing crimes. They're not trying to steal from you. They're not trying to break in and find, because a lot of these times they're trying to break into somewhere to use, right? So if you give them, I don't know what they call it, it's like a safe space or safe zone where they can go use, get clean paraphernalia, because they're going to use anyway. But what you want to do is while they're there, they have counselors and people there who are trying to get them other resources. They have people who are there saying, okay, we know you're using, but let's see if we can get you into a program. Let's see if we can get you to rehab. Let's see if we can get you to a shelter for the night. Let's see if we can give you these other resources. So that's the thinking. And studies have shown, because I looked up a few studies as well, Seabrooks, studies have shown that harm reduction actually has helped in those manners, the specific things they want to do. Abdullah, with a great question. They have done this with a great statement. He's right. They have done this with other drugs. I think the first drug they started out with was heroin. They started doing this with heroin first
Yep.
because of the
Methadone.
needle passing. Yeah, and
Hmm. Yeah.
needles. They did like you said, methadone. They did heroin. They did methadone. So no, this isn't. This is like you said, Abdullah. They have done this with other drugs. So I'm kind of disheartened that people think this is specific to Black folks. That sucks. That sucks that uh people think
Yeah.
that. Um, but
Yeah.
so
Just challenge people to do more reading on it. Do more reading on harm reduction. Do more reading on. Sorry, I get distracted by the comments. But
yeah,
just do more
you gotta get
reading
used to
on
it.
how you know historically may not. I know have not been in our community. So just take the time. Don't just read those headlines, right? They're sensationalized. And also, I would say just check your biases. Like we already mentioned, like why do we automatically go to this is for Black people? Um, so just take a look at those things.
So I'm
Let's
gonna
see.
read some of these comments. My wife used to work for a place called Value Options that dealt with folks like this and trying to find them these types of places. And most of her clients were Caucasian. I know that's the elephant in the room that a lot of people really don't want to talk about. That's probably the only reason that money is actually starting to get funded, because you have a lot of Caucasian people
Yep.
dealing with this issue. Great comment from Jim. He said, "It's a band-aid bigger. It's a band-aid to bigger societal problems. It's not addressing how do people get to that level in the first place. How do we prevent people from using in the first place?" Jim, great comment, and I don't disagree with you. I agree that it's a band-aid to a bigger societal problem, but we know that homelessness, addiction, all of these things are very, very layered, complex problems. So I think this is just I guess like one piece of protocol put in place to try to deal with the bigger thing, because you're right. The biggest issue is on a societal level is poverty, right? So that's, and I don't know how that's going to get figured out, but I do agree with you. The federal government shouldn't have a hand in drug paraphernalia distribution or any harm reduction programs. Creates a nationwide conflict of interest. Um, I,
Well,
I get
it'll
what you're
be
saying,
interesting.
but go ahead, Char.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I have to look at it more, but it'll be interesting to see because it was actually SAMHSA um, that I think fronted the bill. I would have to take more look take a deeper look at that. Because like I said, I saw the headline and I automatically knew, like, okay, they're not distributing crack pipes. So I've been kind of busy at work, so I haven't really dug into it to tell you the ins and outs of it. But that's a good point, Lude.
Yeah. And
Jamal.
also, Jamal, I just think the government is trying to do things, because I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm not saying it's even the best thing, but I feel like it's something, right? I get what you're saying when you say it creates a conflict of interest, but also we talking about we don't want people on drugs to be criminalized. So I think this is the beginning of the change in that, because I don't think addicts should be criminalized, right? Like I think addicts need to be treated. And I know some people disagree, but the problem is the the addicts who get criminalized more often than not are black folks, right? Like they get disproportionately charged with things that a white addict would get rehab and they would get programs for. So you should keep an eye on that, Jamal, when it comes to that. Yes, that is sad. People are very uninformed. I blame the media. Yeah, like I said, if you if you're getting your news from the
Yeah.
shade room, it's kind of what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? It's a global issue. Seabrooks, you're right. Addiction is a global issue. Addiction is like I said, it's not a one tier problem. It's not a one size fits all problem, and it's not even something that I know how you fix, right? Because even if you give all the resources for all the people to go to rehab, they gotta want to go to rehab. They gotta want to get the help. They gotta want to get off drugs. So I think the biggest thing is, like Jim said, you try to figure out the societal things to fix before they get there. But it's not always societal, because we got a lot of rich kids who just own drugs so they want to be like easy to fix
Yeah.
poverty. We keep boasting we are the richest country in the world. Get every tax-paying family $1 million to help pay debts, provide best eggs for the future, and help people gather resources to supply and provide for their families. People will still work because they gonna run through that money fast. You should run for office, Jim. That's actually a great plan. You just know that in the capitalist America, they ain't never gonna let that happen. But I don't disagree with you. But we even saw with with Elizabeth Warren was running on, and Andrew Yang was talking about, like, even just what they call it, a basic income, universal basic income, a UBI, where if you give every family under the poverty line like 1,000 a month, it'll lift so many families out of poverty. So basic things like that, but people didn't want to vote for those things because they said, "Oh, it's socialist." Even a lot of Democrats didn't want to vote for that because they thought that giving families an extra 1,000 per adult in the household a month. Because you imagine every household in the hood getting an extra 2,000 a month. Of course, some people gonna burn through it, but some people are gonna pay bills. There's a lot of people who want to pay bills. There's a lot of people who don't want to be in debt. So Abdullah said, "What was the original question?"
Also, sorry. Also to highlight too, let's not make substance abuse synonymous with poverty, because not everyone that uses drugs are homeless, or um, quite frequently it's a lot of affluent people, as we have seen with this new fentanyl crisis that is
I'm
going
in the
on
music
too.
business,
So
and I'm in the music business, and there's a lot of rich addicts. I say there's a lot of
mm,
rich folks who use drugs. So I agree with you. Want to make sure
yeah.
you make that point. The original story was, Abdullah. If you look at the banner at the bottom, a lot of people are saying Joe Biden is spending $30 million dollars to give people crack pipes. Bottom line is that folks have to want to help with becoming clean. I have several close friends that are years sober, and it takes a ton of work, a lot of self dedication, no matter how much money they throw at it. I agree with that, Demetrius. I kind of alluded to that earlier. Like I said, it's not about just having the resources, it's about the people who want to do it. And again, like I said, I know a lot of rich folks who are addicted and have access to all the resources, and you know, they ain't with it.
Yeah. I mean, and we could just kind of toe the line with, mental health, right? It's like even starting earlier at a younger age of teaching positive coping skills, because a lot of people use substances because of their, what we call a negative coping skill. They're trying to deal with what's going on with life. Um, so it's like multi-systemic, right? So I'm pretty sure if we all sat down and got our heads together and tried to figure out something, maybe we could come up with an amazing bill, right? So,
Yeah.
but
So
it starts with education early on.
yeah, and it does, and like you said, Hold on. Did you already talk about the settlement the Indian tribes received from Johnson and Johnson? No, Tareen, I don't know about that, so I can't speak on it yet. Let me look into it, and I'll probably get with somebody who knows about it, and we'll get on and we'll have a conversation with that. This show, I just really wanted to specifically talk about the $30 million on crack pipes headline, because, like I said, it was, you know, running rampant, and my inbox was going crazy with people talking about it. And like I said, when I went and looked at the bill, I was like, oh, it's not actually spending $30 million on crack pipes. It's really not. And if you don't want to look at any news place, go to, is it what is it, hhs.gov? Go to hhs.gov if you want to look it up for yourself and see what the actual program, the actual program is, and the program spending. And again, like I said, there are things to critique, because I will say, of course, we all feel like as Black folks, there are other things you would want them to spend money on. We know that, you know what I'm saying? But to me, that's not what this specific conversation is about. This conversation is just about giving you guys the correct information and do with what you will with that information. You know what I mean? It's life, emotions, peer pressure surrounding some kids and their parents all over again. It's so many factors. C Brooks, man, like you said, it's so many factors that, we can't wrap our head around it, because everybody don't use drugs for the same reason. So I think that's why it's a bit disingenuous to try to throw the one size fits all on it, and to say, like you said, Charlotte, just trying to connect it to poverty. Like, so many reasons that people use. All right, well, I kept you for 20 minutes. I know you're getting home from work and you all settled in and you want to relax. So I just really want to thank you for taking the time to come on and explain this. Hold on real quick. Comments keep coming in. Yo, I love it. I love it. Especially, I didn't think people was going to be talking because the Laker game was on. I work for a federal hospital in logistics. The government has flooded us with the COVID vaccine and PPE. No crack pipes as of yet. Jamal says, I agree that addiction is a mental health issue first, but when you have drugs that are illegal on a federal level and the feds are involved in paraphernalia distribution, it doesn't look good. But I don't really think it's about looks at this point. I think it's kind of more about results and trying to do what you can to, give people the help that they need and the resources that they need. Because if you say, oh, drugs are illegal and everybody who comes to try to get help, we're going to arrest them, that's what I don't think is a good look. So,
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate you watching, C Brooks. Yeah. Like I said, I'm just here to give information. Do with what you will with this information, but I don't like disinformation given to my folks, right? If the information was real, we would have came on here and told y'all, yeah, it's real. They wilding. They giving $30 million for crack pipes. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to give y'all the information, and I appreciate everybody who's watching. I really appreciate everybody who's in the comments. Tanisha, send me some articles. Hit my inbox. And, if that's something that I could, dig my teeth into to talk about, I'll try to get on and talk about. We always need to do their own research. I will hope people do their own research, C Brooks, but that ain't always the case, bro. So sometimes uncouth, we got to come here and try to lay it on the platter for people. You know what I mean? That's what we here for. That's what, people known for. Like when it comes voting time, when it comes time for big stories in politics, a lot of people come to uncouth to ask us, like, unpack this for me, talk to me about this in layman's terms, not all the legal terms and So what I do is we go in and we go read, or we talk to the people who know all the technical terms, and we break it down for y'all so y'all can understand what's really happening and what's really going on in the streets. All right, man, we're gonna let y'all get out of here. Thank you so much. This has been a great uncouth conversation with Dr. Char James. I'm sure we're gonna have you back. You've been a great guest. Thank you so much. Until next time, we will see you guys.